Right here up top, I want to bring in our first guest here on set. Her name is Julia Young. She is a comedian and can be seen on MTV's Wild and Out and also on Vice's Jesus and Mero. She is here to share with us her new book. We got a video for the book, and it's a quite controversial, bold title. Please Don't Grab My Pussy, a rhyming presidential guide. And it's a pussycat on the front of the title or of the book. Let's roll her video to do an intro for her book.
Grab the election from Hillary. Putin pulled off one hell of a hack. You lost the popular vote by 3 million. But please don't grab my front crack. This is a list of things you can grab, and yes, I'm going to sound pushy. For once in your life, listen up.
So your new book has a very bold title. What made you decide to give it such that boldness?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here and to say the word pussy out loud. I would say, Trump said it himself. So right after in October when the tapes came out, I was feeling very upset, and even more so after he won the election. So I was like, well, my healing crystals aren't working. So I decided to do something more active and to write a book, literally using his words. So I kind of figured the only way to really write a book like this is kind of in a rhyming scheme, almost treating it like a kid's book. It's illustrated very much like a children's book, but it's not safe for children. I think that was the only way to handle it, was to write it as a kid's book.
So when you wrote the book, so I'm a Trump supporter, but I didn't vote for him in 2016, but I do plan to vote for him in 2020 because I like a lot of the policies that he's doing. And I agree with you that sometimes, the discourse across the spectrum is pretty over the top. So I don't agree. I don't agree with him saying that on the tape. I think it was wrong and offensive, and he's apologized for it. So I guess my question is, by repeating his phrase, is that in some respects almost giving him more attention?
I don't think so. I don't think he really apologized for it, because lately he's been saying maybe that wasn't even his voice on the Access Hollywood tape. And I don't think he feels bad for it at all. And he's been accused by like 19 women of sexual assault and denies it, fine. But I don't think it's giving him more attention. I think it's literally saying out loud what he said. And also, it's just a general message for everyone. Like, don't grab a woman by her genitals. Like, it's just a general thing. We give, there's every page is something else you can grab besides a woman's vagina.
So basically what you did was you took this rhyme, and then now throughout the book, you're turning it into something positive, I assume. Okay. Yeah,
I'll read you one. You want to hear?
Yeah, sure. Read us one.
Okay, all right. I'll tell you something else you can grab. Okay, cool. Let's do this one. You can grab an electoral map of your victory. Yes, we all know you won North Carolina. Talk about states I'll never set foot in, but please don't grab my vagina. And then there's beautiful painting by Laura Collins of North Carolina. But then, there's political ones, definitely, but then there's very, the whole book is very pop culture-y, very silly. You can grab my Sex and the City DVDs. Do you think Miranda is still with Steve? I once saw Cynthia Nixon at a charity ball, but please don't grab my wizard sleeve. There's DVDs of Sex and the City.
And Cynthia Nixon, we interviewed her at Bold earlier before she ran, actually, because she played Ronald Reagan's wife in a movie where she made out with Ronald Reagan for the History Channel. It was actually really fascinating.
I love her. I want to give her a copy of the book.
No, it was great, because I was like, you're such a liberal woman, and here you are making out with Ronald Reagan. How was that for you? Yeah. And she said, well, for me, acting is really about the story. Mm-hmm. And since Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan had this really epic romance, I respect Michelle and Barack Obama's romance, even if I don't agree with them politically. I think I can respect that, So I guess for people who maybe, are Trump supporters, what would you say to them, through this book? Are you trying to shock or offend or persuade? What would be your message to them?
I think my message is that there's no message for Trump supporters. I'm not trying to enrage anybody. I'm not trying to get doxxed. I'm not trying to infuriate anyone. I don't think Trump supporters are going to buy this book or read this book or love this book, honestly. I think this is probably for Democrats, for millennials, for women. I see this as like an Urban Outfitters type of a book where you're buying it as a stocking stuffer or a Hanukkah present or, you know, whatever you want. I've had friends who are buying it now as baby shower gifts, which I find to be hilarious. But yeah, I'm not trying to fight with anyone. I just, you know, I'm a comedian and I'm not a political person, but I am very upset with what's happening in this country and what's happening to women and what Trump, I believe, is doing to this country and to women. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say there's like a huge message. I'm not campaigning for anything.
Very interesting that you say that because now we live in a society where everybody is sharing their views. So I take it your book is just you using your giftings and talent to present what your viewpoints are. And we see that all across the country that people are starting to use their platforms more than anything now to attract whatever it is their viewpoints are.
Right. Well, so I guess here's my question. So as a conservative, like looking at Hollywood, like Hollywood is very politically active, but it's something like 9 or 10 to 1, you know, Democrats to Republicans, so that a lot of, you know, conservatives felt like Hollywood has shut them out, so that when you see the comedy like Michelle Wolf at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, there's just this really big disconnect between the culture of the quote unquote flyover country where I'm from. I used to live in North Carolina, and I welcome you to go step foot there sometime.
I would love to. I have friends who live in Asheville. That's just
it's beautiful. Yeah.
No, I would love to set foot there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's a joke. And I guess, so for a lot of conservatives who feel like they've been shut out of Hollywood, it's like our way of life has become a joke. And there isn't equal representation. If you're talking 10 to 1, I love jokes. I love humor. That's why we invited you on the show. Like, I want your voice to be heard. But do you feel like conservatives sometimes are not having their voice represented in a healthy way or more balanced way?
Well, I don't know if you can say, like, well, there's 10 Hollywood people who are liberal. That means there should be 10 that are conservative. Like, you can't do that balance. I think there's plenty of conservative actors and athletes, musicians. I would also say in terms of this, like, Hollywood is all liberal. Like, Trump is Hollywood. He's been in movies. He had The Apprentice. It's, like, I think weird to be like these Hollywood elites. It's like he is a millionaire who was on TV, so he's not of the people. He lives in like a gold house. But I think that there are plenty of conservative people in Hollywood who, yeah, you're saying, I'm sure they don't maybe feel comfortable enough expressing their views. But, you know, for all of those Hollywood people that don't feel comfortable expressing their views, there's, I think, many more like millionaire or billionaire political activists giving money to Republican parties. I think that's a little unbalanced in terms of like business people who are donating to different causes. I think there's far more Republican millionaires.
Well, Bernie Sanders would agree, except he would say billionaires. Millionaires.
Billionaires.
So just with everything that's going on in the country, I respect that you're using satire and humor and just expressing yourself in a way that I think is really, you know, trying to build a community. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think that we should see more trying to cross bridges. I mean, what just for the country, like at this time where things are so divided, like what would you want to see for the country to bring us together?
Well, I definitely want people to vote next week, very badly. I think people need to like cool it down. I think violence, threats of violence, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, like people need to like calm down because the world's ending anyway because of climate change, which I believe in. So yeah, I think everyone just needs to cool it and just be like nicer and just like treat everyone as if they were your aunt. You know, you're never like that mean to your aunt unless she does something horrible.
That's really great wisdom.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Very wise. Very wise person. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, treat everyone like family, because at the end of the day, we are.
Yes.
It's one big human family.
Yep.
So, all right.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much, Sarah Young, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
And make sure to check out her humor book. Please Don't Grab My Pussy, a rhyming presidential guide. Thank you, Julia Young.
Thanks.